No, so as I've said before, a good 99% of the people on YouTube and TikTok who call themselves indigenous content creators are completely fake. As in, there's nothing indigenous about them or anyone that they've ever come from in their whole bloodline. Indigenous does not just mean red. Indigenous does not just mean brown. There are brown people in Europe. There are brown people in Latin America. There are brown people in Arabia. Brown doesn't automatically imply being indigenous, and neither does red, because somebody could be of red descent without actually being enrollable. So these are very different things. Some elders have asserted that they think 75 to 95% of everybody in the United States has at least one native ancestor somewhere. And by native ancestor, they mean somebody who's not really native, which is why we have this kind of weird disagreement. Because in order to actually be a native person, an individual would have to produce documentation of evidence to a federal entity of indigenous people. Otherwise, it would be considered detribalized. It would be considered deculturalized. It would be considered assimilated into whatever other group has taken them. Whether you're Métis, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're the child of Rolf, it's all kind of the same thing. It's people who lost their original tribe and have been assimilated by a group of Europeans. It's not necessarily representative of tribal relations with Europeans. It's more so a relation between a tribe that's gone and the descendants of those people with Europeans. It's very different than an actual representation of a modern tribe mingling with Europeans. Completely different scenario. And we don't even think of it that way. The average person watches these fucking videos and they think like, oh, they don't even know what the fucking definition of a native person is. They can't even define it. They can't even find it in a dictionary. They can't find it throughout history. They can't figure it out. So they're being fooled by this crap that they see that's like, oh, I'm an indigenous content creator, and it's a fucking Mexican. And I'm like, you're a Spaniard. You haven't even had indigenous tribes in your country in 500 years. You're a fucking Spaniard, so I don't know why you walk up and talk to me as if we're the same thing when we're not. You can't prove any lineage to a federal entity. That's what it would require to represent yourself as an indigenous person.